George Francis Gabby Hayes was born on May 7th, 1885, in Standards, New York, far from the dusty plains and frontier towns he would later inhabit on screen. Unlike his scruffy, cantankerous persona, Hayes grew up in a comfortable, middle-class environment. His father owned a hotel, and young George enjoyed a stable childhood in the northeastern United States. From an early age, he displayed a flair for storytelling and performance, traits that would define his career. Hayes' intellect and curiosity set him apart from the typical image audiences would later associate with Gabby. Even as a child, he showed a natural ability to entertain and connect with people, foreshadowing the warmth and humor he would bring to the silver screen. His early experiences laid the foundation for a remarkable life, blending intelligence, wit, and an innate charm that audiences would one day fall in love with. A varied path to the stage. Before Hayes entered Hollywood, he explored several different careers. He briefly pursued professional baseball and dabbled in engineering, showcasing a restless energy and versatility. However, the stage called to him, and he and his wife, Olive E. Ireland, formed a vaudeville act in the early 1900s. Traveling across the country, they performed comedy sketches, songs, and musical numbers, gaining experience that sharpened Hayes' timing, expression, and stage presence. Audiences loved his animated facial expressions and his ability to convey humor through subtle gestures. The vaudeville years taught Hayes the importance of versatility, timing, and connecting with an audience, skills that would later define his work in film. It was this early life of performance, touring, and adapting to varied roles that prepared him for the challenges of Hollywood, providing both the confidence and the craft necessary for his eventual screen success. Transition to Hollywood. The stock market crash of 1929 wiped out much of Hayes' savings and prompted him to take a bold leap into the film industry in California. Hollywood, still transitioning from silent films to talkies, offered opportunities for talented character actors. Hayes began appearing in minor roles, often portraying villains, bartenders, or townsfolk in westerns. Despite his small parts, his natural comedic timing and charisma quickly drew attention. By the mid-1930s, Hayes began to specialize in the role of the Western sidekick. The transformation from George Hayes to Gabby was almost accidental. In contrast to his scruffy, bearded, and homespun screen persona, Hayes was articulate, well-groomed, and intelligent off-camera, proving that Hollywood magic could entirely reshape one's public image. It was this duality, polished gentleman off-screen, lovable codger on-screen, that made Gabby Hayes a unique and enduring figure in American cinema. The birth of Gabby? Gabby Hayes' iconic screen persona crystallized through careful cultivation of humor, timing, and character. While off-screen he was clean-shaven and articulate, the Gabby character featured a bushy beard, homespun wisdom, and whimsical expressions like "Dern Tootin'" that resonated with audiences. Hayes' ability to blend comic relief with genuine warmth made him an instant hit as a sidekick in westerns. His first major recognition came playing Wendy Halliday alongside William Boyd's Hopalong Cassidy from 1935 to 1939. Hayes brought heart, humor, and relatability to the role, establishing a model for sidekicks that would influence Western cinema for decades. The Gabby persona, a mixture of eccentricity and sincerity, allowed audiences to feel both laughter and affection, making him a crucial part of the Western landscape. Even in minor disputes or comic moments, the character's charm and loyalty shone through, creating a timeless connection with moviegoers. Departure from Paramount and new beginnings. In 1939, Hayes left Paramount Pictures over a salary dispute, a risky move for someone so closely tied to a single role. Paramount retained the rights to Wendy Halliday, prompting Hayes to move to Republic Pictures, where he was renamed Gabby Whittaker. Though the name changed, the essence of the character remained identical: lovable, witty, and loyal. Audiences quickly embraced Gabby Whittaker, and Hayes' reputation as Hollywood's quintessential sidekick grew. Between 1939 and 1946, he appeared in more than 40 films for Republic Pictures, solidifying his position as a cornerstone of the Western genre. His clever banter, quick wit, and signature expressions complemented the heroic leads, creating a dynamic formula that audiences adored. This period cemented Hayes' legacy and showcased his ability to thrive even after leaving a familiar studio, demonstrating that his talent, charm, and timing were the true keys to his enduring popularity. A legendary partnership with Roy Rogers. During his prolific years at Republic Pictures, Hayes appeared alongside Roy Rogers an astonishing 44 times. Their partnership became one of the most celebrated in Western film history. While Rogers embodied the clean-cut, heroic cowboy, Hayes played the rough-hewn, humorous companion, balancing action with comic relief. Their chemistry came naturally, despite the stark contrast in appearance and persona. Hayes described Rogers as not only a consummate performer, but a man of integrity, whose decency off-screen matched his on-screen heroism. What you saw in those pictures, the courage, the humility, the smile that could disarm the toughest outlaw, that was all Roy, Hayes reflected. Their collaboration defined an era of Westerns, creating a dynamic duo whose films provided both excitement and warmth. For Hayes, Rogers was more than a co-star. He was a symbol of honesty, hard work, and character, values that resonated deeply with audiences during difficult times. Collaboration with other Western icons. In addition to Roy Rogers, Gabby Hayes worked with many other Western legends, including Gene Autry, Wild Bill Elliott, Randolph Scott, and John Wayne. He appeared in 7 films with Autry, 14 with Elliott, 6 with Scott, and 15 with Wayne, demonstrating his versatility as both a comedic sidekick and a serious supporting actor. Hayes' ability to adapt to different co-stars and roles made him an invaluable asset in Hollywood's Western circuit. One standout performance came in Raoul Walsh's 1940 classic Dark Command, where Hayes played Wayne's loyal companion, and a young Roy Rogers had a supporting role. These experiences highlighted Hayes' range and his ability to balance humor, heroism, and tension. His skill in complementing the hero, while remaining memorable in his own right, reinforced his status as an essential part of the Western film formula, creating a legacy that would endure long after the genre's peak. Off-screen persona. Despite his rough-and-ready screen image, Hayes was an intelligent, articulate, and thoughtful man in real life. Well-read, polished, and refined, he contrasted sharply with the scruffy, twangy character audiences adored. This duality allowed him to bring a depth to Gabby that elevated the sidekick role beyond mere comic relief. Colleagues often noted Hayes' professionalism, wit, and kindness behind the camera. He treated everyone on set with respect, from actors to crew members, creating an environment of warmth and collaboration. This generosity and professionalism extended to his work with Roy Rogers, whose cheerful, disciplined nature complemented Hayes' humor. Together, they created a working relationship built on mutual admiration, patience, and trust, which translated into an authentic on-screen chemistry that fans could immediately recognize and cherish. Reflections on Roy Rogers. Late in life, Gabby Hayes spoke candidly about his time with Roy Rogers, offering rare insights into their working relationship. Hayes described Rogers as embodying the same honesty and decency off-screen as he did on camera. He praised Rogers' ability to lead with humor and optimism, keeping morale high even during grueling shoots in challenging conditions. Hayes also acknowledged their occasional disagreements over scripts or creative choices, noting that Rogers always prioritized the audience experience. "Gabby, the kids love the songs," Rogers would remind him, highlighting his intuitive sense of public appeal. Hayes reflected that these differences strengthened their partnership, teaching patience, balance, and mutual respect. Their shared experiences, from chasing bandits to trading witty banter, created a friendship that was as genuine off-screen as it appeared on the silver screen, forming the backbone of one of Hollywood's most enduring duos. Legacy of the Gabby Rogers partnership. Hayes viewed his work with Roy Rogers not just as entertainment, but as a cultural contribution. Their films offered hope and optimism during challenging times in America, providing audiences with heroes they could trust and laughter they could enjoy. Hayes acknowledged that while Rogers embodied heroism, he himself played a vital role in connecting with audiences through humor and relatability. Even after leaving the Roy Rogers series, Hayes continued to speak warmly of his former co-star, emphasizing Rogers' integrity and professionalism. Their partnership left an indelible mark on Western cinema, influencing how sidekicks and heroes were portrayed for generations. For Hayes, the experience was both professionally rewarding and personally meaningful, highlighting the impact of collaboration, respect, and friendship in the creative world. Television and later years. In the 1950s, Hayes transitioned to television with The Gabby Hayes Show, introducing a new generation to his warmth, humor, and love of the Old West. On the program, he presented old Western films and stories, speaking directly to children with the same charm that had made him a beloved figure in theaters. This venture allowed Hayes to bridge the gap between classic cinema and the emerging television medium, ensuring that his influence extended beyond his film career. Even in his later years, he continued to cherish memories of his collaborations with Roy Rogers and other Western stars. Hayes remained an enduring figure, combining humor, intelligence, and warmth, leaving a lasting impression on audiences and colleagues alike. Enduring impact. Gabby Hayes' career spanned radio, film, and television, yet his legacy is inseparable from his work with Roy Rogers. He transformed the role of the Western sidekick into a beloved institution, blending humor, wisdom, and humanity. Hayes' reflections reveal a man who valued integrity, kindness, and collaboration above all else, qualities he saw in Rogers and brought to every performance. Together, they entertained, inspired, and offered hope during challenging times, creating a lasting cultural footprint. As Hayes once noted with humor and humility, "Roy made me look good, and that's no small feat when you're a scruffy old coot like me." Beyond laughter and adventure, the partnership of Gabby Hayes and Roy Rogers represents a